everybody, and welcome to Nathan on Shuffle and to my latest episode of New Album Spotlight, the show where I put the spotlight on a new album in progressive rock or related genres that I want you guys to check out, that if you have similar tastes as me, I think you'll probably enjoy. Putting a spotlight oftentimes on lesser known artists that I want to bring more attention towards, and that's certainly the case today. This is an album that came to my attention very recently, and I've just been obsessed with it, and I have to talk about it on the channel, give it a proper review, and let you guys know about it. And hopefully you guys will hear this and go out and check out this record, because it's well worth your ears and attention, especially if you're a big Neil Morse fanatic like I am. This should be right up your alley. This is Jacob Roberge and the album The Passage. Jacob's a new artist to me, and I believe he's a fairly young guy who's doing a lot of this all himself. He's kind of one of these multi-talented, multi-instrumentalists who plays multiple instruments, who sings incredibly, and is able to write beautiful, emotional songs that just really connect with you and are just wonderful to behold here. This album officially released on January 31st, so it's been out a little bit of time here. The artist, Jacob's from Quebec City, so he's up in Canada, and he's been doing like a lot of YouTube stuff that's been getting fairly good acclaim, like one-man band kind of videos. He did one of Bohemian Rhapsody that was fairly popular, doing all the different parts all at once. Fantastic to watch that. He's also done a lot of stuff in terms of going on stage and performing different roles in like musicals and opera and being a musical director of sorts. So he has a lot of experience in the musical lane here. And it comes to fruition here on this solo album, which is fantastic, his first full-length solo record. And like I said, if you really love Neil Morse's music, this is kind of a no-brainer to check out, because he has that style to him without feeling like a copycat. He definitely has his own different edge to it, so it's not like, oh, here we go, a Neil Morse clone. And he has other disparate influences, from Steven Wilson to Pink Floyd to Styx to classical and film score elements. It's all here. That's what he kind of describes as the stew. Those bands, those artists, with Neil Morse, of course, as well, crafting something really unique and interesting. And that's what I love about Jacob, is his music is just so unique and fresh in a lot of ways. Like, it takes a lot of melodic twists and turns. It sounds really beautiful and really comforting and has some gorgeous melodies and gorgeous instrumentation, but it has these cool little melodic twists and turns that you don't expect, that make it stand out and make it unique in this field of progressive rock. So, and what's interesting about the structure of the album is I feel like, by and large, most of the album is very ballad heavy. It's a lot of just this beautiful playing, some kind of almost Spanish style guitar, some really beautiful classically tinged piano, Jacob's vocals just really shining through with full emotional weight and power with these great harmonies behind it. You get a lot of that throughout these first like 5 tracks, but then it builds up to this fantastic epic at the end, The Passing, which basically hits you over the head with everything, with all kinds of different genre hopping, getting into almost progressive metal at times, really expressive, really fun. It has those ballad-esque moments, those sweet moments where it stops and takes a breath, but there's so many epic moments where it just comes full force, and the band's doing these really cool proggy arrangements, and it just sounds like your classic Neil Morse epic, with a really cool overture that builds and gives you these themes that are going to come and morph their way through the track, and then gives you this epic climax at the end that just is so exciting and satisfying as a listener. But the first 5 tracks are all more laid back in my mind. There's moments where it gets a little bit heavier, gets a little bit more intense, where you get more of an electric guitar feel and this kind of bluesier guitar tone. But a lot of it's kind of laid back and cool and has these kind of great piano melodies and this great vocal element. The Long Way Home starts the record this way, with almost a haunting piano melody before the acoustic guitar enters and gives a more beautiful melodic feel. We get some great bass lines, some swelling strings, And it really does build. All these tracks build to fantastic heights as you continue listening. There's something familiar that draws you in, but then twists and turns that keep your attention and make you excited and interested in what's coming next. Some really cool soaring guitar solos all throughout this album. There's some really excellent soaring guitars that bring a lot of emotional heft to the record when it needs it. Empty Traces Part 1, once again, a beautiful piano opening, very fragile, yet beautiful. We get kind of the Spanish guitar tone, great guitar solo with a bluesy feel towards the end, some cool melodic twists. Garden of Souls is probably one of the more varied and progressive tracks from this first section of the record. Starts with a cool drum pattern. We get into a chill groove with almost like psychedelic guitar washes, some great orchestration, and swelling vocals. There's kind of an underlying sinister melody in my mind. Kind of reminds me of like a Neil Morse style, where he kind of hints towards other things that you're going to be hearing later in the track, and has these kind of cool nods to what's coming. Love the kind of keyboard section in the middle with these vocal oohs and ahs before we get into kind of a heavier rocking guitar section. It kind of goes back and forth between these styles, this kind of cool, almost power pop, breezier style to this more heavy rocking, almost bordering on prog metal section. Really love the dichotomy here, how it goes back and forth between these feels, and it gives you some of the more rockin' high-octane music that you've heard yet on this record. Really brilliant track, an early highlight on the record for me. Petrichor is just a fantastic, kind of beautiful extended piece. It's 10 minutes long, atmospheric keyboard opening with deep introspective vocals. We get great acoustic guitar and piano. Definitely, once again, kind of a Spanish guitar feel. Great harmony vocals, shuffling drums. There's a cool trumpet solo that enters in about halfway through the track. Great synth solo as well. And it just builds and builds from there. Some beautiful, sumptuous strings, gorgeous arrangements. My only complaint with this track is that it kind of ends too abruptly for me, which is crazy considering it's a 10-minute track. But I feel like the guitar solo could have extended itself and gone even further. But I guess it kind of just leaves you wanting more. So maybe that's part of the trick that's going on here with this track. Then we get Empty Traces Part 2, which is another fragile ballad. Just totally gorgeous. Great flutes underneath. Some great vocal harmonies. Acoustic guitar and piano. Electric guitar solo. Really one of the best solos on the record. It really soars to great heights here and ends with another beautiful piano solo. So that's what you can expect through a lot of the record, is this great, beautiful ballad-esque feel, these really sumptuous orchestral arrangements that brings a classical feel, great piano playing, great guitar playing as well, and beautiful soaring vocals. He's a fantastic vocalist, and it was really a pleasure to hear him really sing and emote through these tracks. It's been a joy. But once again, you get to the feast here at the end with the passing, the big epic, and I would hardly recommend this to everybody. Even if the first few tracks aren't grabbing your attention for whatever reason, I think you need to push forward and just hear this epic in its entirety, because this is the meat and bones of the record, and what I keep returning for is everything that's here on this track, because it has a mixture of all the elements that I love about progressive rock, all swirling in this one 30-minute piece that just continues to build and to morph and weave as it goes throughout its runtime and showcases the best and brightest in new progressive rock. I'm so excited for Jacob and for his future, and hopefully he continues in this vein and continues to create this kind of material that just has this much power, this much emotion, these many twists and turns that surprise and excite you. It begins with this really epic sounding overture with strings, film score, large scale, reminds me of kind of a Neil Morse style epic where he really starts in this grand majestic way and then proceeds with this really mind-blowing overture that gives you the themes ahead that you're expected to hear, and just really gets you ramped up and excited for the piece that's about to come. And so it's just really fun, super proggy, great section, great play out. It's about 5 minutes plus that you get just this pure instrumental joy, and then it all dials itself back, and we get this kind of atmospheric section for a couple minutes before we get the vocals coming in with some very fragile piano and guitar. with that softer ballad-esque feel, but then it quickly ramps up into a blistering guitar solo, a cool bass line, a classically tinged proggy section, almost a Baroque feel in some of these sections as well. We get some ramping up energy and passion before we get into rocking guitars and almost a prog metal feel to the proceedings. A lot of great grooves here. There's a short, like, jazz-tinged piano section that I really love, and a killer solo halfway through that just builds and builds in a John Petrucci sort of style. Just when you think it can't get grander and more technical and brilliant, it does. It reaches new heights every moment. We get this cool proggy keyboard lead before the band kicks in for this groove. We get a Middle Eastern kind of mystic sort of feel to this as well. Some cool synth parts added on top. It's just a really cool instrumental section that continues to go forward and continues to build layer upon layer. And just when you think you've reached the heights of what you can expect, it gets even bigger and even more fun and even more proggy. Then it quiets down once again to some beautiful ambiance, some vocal sections, some soaring music behind it. And we once again get into a really heavy riff section, building with incredible orchestration. So it really builds and weaves in this fashion where it quiets down for some vocal-led sections that are gorgeous and soaring, and then it gets very proggy and heavy and cool as the instrumental sections morph and weave in this proggy way before we get into this epic finale. And it's, does my heart proud as a huge Neil Morse fan to hear this kind of return to the big opening theme, a blistering Eric Gillette style guitar solo, and just the full heights of emotional power to end this on, which to me brings to mind the best of Neil Morse and what he's able to do at the height of his powers. So it's just killer. This whole epic track just takes you exactly on the journey you want to go on if you like the same style symphonic prog that I love. But don't miss out on the shorter tracks before it. They may not have the excitement of these big, like, proggy instrumental sections like the epic does, but they're just gorgeous to behold. They're greatly arranged. They have so many beautiful sections, some great orchestration, some great piano playing, some great soaring guitar work, and these beautiful, sumptuous vocal melodies. Just a home run for me as a listener. And I tend to rate things even higher when it's a brand new musician just stepping out into the field and is able to just completely blow your mind. It's just really exciting. I'm always looking for youthful prog fans, so to speak, who can continue to carry this music forward after the older era of musicians unfortunately retires and aren't around anymore, that we still have a vibrant scene with these younger musicians who are bringing this genre forward. That's exciting to me, and this is the style prog that I just absolutely love. It just speaks straight to my heart. I could tell that Jacob has a lot of the same musical interests and influences that I have, and in some ways this is kind of the album that I wish I would make if I had just even an ounce of the musical talent that someone like Jacob has. So I'm glad he's able to do it and manifest this kind of inner joy that I have in prog music and give it voice into this fabulous, beautiful record. So can't recommend this enough. It's going to place highly on my year-end list, honestly. The more I listen to it, the more I love it. There's just so much to really catch my ear here. So many beautiful, gorgeous melodies that stick in my brain. And I just absolutely adore this record and urge everyone, please listen, please hear it, please listen through the entire record and go on the entire journey that Jacob's trying to take you on, because it's well worth your time and attention. And this comes with the highest recommendation that I can possibly give. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Hopefully you appreciated this review and that it sparked your interest. I think it can appeal to any prog fan, no matter what style of prog you're into. There's something here for you if you just like beautifully made music that subverts your expectations but also hooks you in with some satisfying, beautiful melodies. Love it to death and hope the best for Jacob in his future career. Can't wait for album number 2, hopefully in some future time period. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll hopefully catch you guys in another episode. Bye everybody, enjoy the music.